Hi friends, in this video I would like to discuss about shoulder joint injuries.
Before starting the session, I would like to pay homage to our dear Guru, Vaidhyabhushanam Raghavan Tirunulpadu sir, in this occasion, who taught us to maintain the relationship between theory and practical. And he taught us how to do practice simply along with his life itself. Before starting the session, all of you know, please note that our body is divided into three planes: coronal, sagittal, and axial. Coronal plane divides the body into two anterior and posterior half. Sagittal plane divided into two equal halves, right and left, and axial plane divided into upper and lower parts. Coming to the clinical examination of shoulder, first thing you want to do is inspection. In inspection, undress the patient up to the waist to compare both the shoulder joints. This is the first thing to do as part of inspection. Inspection itself gives clues. If there is fracture of clavicle at the junction of medial 2/3 and lateral 1/3, we can see deformity at that point, and the deformity is due to the deltoid muscle, rotation of scapula. Both these helps in the abduction. And in 180 degree of total abduction, 60 degree is by the rotation of scapula itself. Whenever you ask the patient to do abduction, when the patient shrugs like this is to facilitate the rotation of scapula to start the initial abduction. That means the supraspinatus muscle is affected. Whenever the patient shrugs, when you ask the patient to do the abduction, that means his supraspinatus muscle is either injured or in pathological condition. You can understand that the supraspinatus muscle is affected. Coming to the next condition, the painful arc syndrome in between 70 degree to 120 degree. In between 70 degree to 120 degree, the supraspinatus muscle is impinged in between head of the humerus and acromion process. In between the head of the humerus and acromion process, the supraspinatus muscle is impinged, and that particular condition is called as painful arc syndrome. Painful arc syndrome. And the reason of painful arc syndrome includes supraspinatus tendinitis, supraspinatus tear, greater tuberosity fracture, and subdeltoid or subacromial bursitis. Mainly, we can tell 4 reasons for painful arc syndrome. And the last 30 or 20 degree of abduction, whenever the patient complains pain over the last 20 or 30 degree of abduction, it is due to acromioclavicular joint arthritis. Acromioclavicular joint arthritis. And the important point in painful arc syndrome is the patient felt only pain in between 70 degree and 120 degree. After 120 degree, the patient pain will be relieved on abduction. Other important point in painful arc syndrome is whenever the patient do abduction, in between 70 to 120 degree, patient feels pain. Whenever the patient externally rotate his arm, the impingement will be relieved so that the patient felt pain relief. This is very important regarding painful arc syndrome. Internal rotation or medial rotation of shoulder is facilitated by subscapularis muscle. Subscapularis muscle. External rotation is facilitated by teres minor and infraspinatus. Both these muscles helps in the lateral rotation. Hope you can identify this condition. This particular case come to OPD with a history of fall, but no history of fall on outstretched hand. No history of fall on outstretched hand. This is a case of anterior shoulder dislocation. You can see the normal contour is lost. There is flattening of shoulder joints. In inspection itself, you can go to the provisional diagnosis. This particular patient had a history 8 years back, and without a fall on outstretched hand, he had shoulder dislocation. The attitude of the patient is the patient supports the affected hand with opposite hand. In its inspection, you can see normal contour is lost. On palpation, you can feel acromion process laterally. Normally, the most lateral bony point is greater tuberosity, but in this particular condition, head of the humerus is displaced and it is under coracoid process, so that laterally you can feel acromion process. Regarding range of motion, patient is not able to attempt any movements. Patient is not able to attempt any movements. And the typical clinical examination test is called as Dugas test. Dugas test means ask the patient to touch his opposite shoulder along the line of chest. Only Dugas test gives the diagnosis of shoulder joint dislocation. I repeat, the attitude of the patient supports his affected hand with opposite hand. Second thing, on palpation, you can feel acromion process most laterally. In inspection, you can see the normal contour is lost and the patient is not able to attempt any movements due to significant pain. This is anterior shoulder dislocation. This is the X-ray of the patient. You can see the head of the humerus is displaced from the glenoid cavity. Hope it's clear. Only shoulder AP view gives the diagnosis of anterior shoulder dislocation. Coming to dislocation, the most common joint to dislocate is shoulder dislocation. And the most common dislocation in shoulder is anterior dislocation of shoulder. This is the X-ray after the reduction. This is normal X-ray. This is inspection after reduction. Inspection after reduction. Here you can see head of the humerus is in normal position and you can see there is normal contour of the shoulder joint due to the deltoid muscle. This is bandage done after the reduction. This is shoulder spica bandage or Swastika Bandha with sling or Ulsandi Bandha. This is shoulder joint dislocation, anterior shoulder joint dislocation. These things I already explained. This is called as shoulder support. This shoulder support should not be advised after immediate bandage for shoulder joint dislocation. For shoulder joint dislocation, either you use shoulder spica bandage or you can use shoulder immobilizer. I want to tell you this particular thing that shoulder support we can use to prevent further shoulder dislocation when the patient is playing cricket or volleyball, such things as a support. But shoulder support should not be advisable to the patient after shoulder joint dislocation as part of bandage. Immediately after the dislocation, you advise 3 weeks bandage. 3 weeks bandage. Why? Because whenever shoulder joint is dislocated, the joint capsule tear along with glenoid labral tear will be there. So that 3 weeks immobilization is must in almost all dislocation to avoid further recurrence, so that shoulder support is not effective to give ample immobilization. Here you can see the reduction done in this particular case. I will explain 2 reduction methods in this particular class. One is Koch's method. I think all of you know the Koch's method. Traction along the line of humerus, external rotation, adduction up to the midline of chest, and then medial rotation. Traction along the line of humerus, external rotation, adduction up to the midline of chest, and then medial rotation. Here in this particular case, I am doing another method which is very simple. You can do it very simply. Patient felt comfortable in this particular reduction method. Either you can learn this method or you can learn Koch's method. Only one method is enough. Here you can see the modified Koch's method, which was taught to me by Chandrakumar sir, my professor or my guide. He taught me this particular method. This is very simple method. You can see the video of this particular reduction method. In this method, the same method we are doing, traction along the line of humerus and then external rotation. Only 2 things we are doing. With these 2 things itself, we get complete reduction. And the change in this particular condition is Koch's method is explained to be done in sitting posture. We can do it in supine position also. In this particular reduction method, the patient should always be supine, and we change the position. In Koch's method, elbow is in 90-degree flexed position, but in this particular modified Koch's method, the traction is done in a position in abducted shoulder. The shoulder abduction and external rotation is the reason for dislocation of shoulder. So you can see in this particular video, we are moving the arm to abduction and external rotation position in which the shoulder dislocation happened. This is a very simple method to do this particular movement, patient won't feel any pain while doing this method, but the patient resists your movement, so that vocal anesthesia will be very effective in this particular maneuver. Vocal anesthesia just to move the hand to abduction and external rotation. Talk to the patient how the dislocation happened, or talk any other things, whether he have food before the dislocation. Such things should be asked. After dislocation, the patient is not able to take food, so that you ask any things to the patient and move the shoulder to this particular position, external rotation and abduction. In this particular position, shoulder dislocation occurs, and in this particular position, you are giving traction. Here you can see traction and external rotation. You please note the dislocation is reduced. And then supporting the axilla, again the arm is kept into adduction and medial rotation. The only two things to be done in this particular manner, I repeat, just you want to do is move the shoulder joint into external rotation and abduction like this, into external rotation and abduction like this. During this maneuver, you should speak to the patient and tell to the patient that it's a very simple method. You won't feel any pain in this particular maneuver. And the very important thing is that the gentle reduction is very good to avoid recurrent dislocation. Why? Because a very small trauma should be applied while doing this method. The reduction method, you won't apply so much pressure. Why? Because gentle reduction is very effective to avoid glenoid labral injury and joint capsule injury while doing this particular maneuver. This is very important. Here you can see traction along the line of humerus, and then external rotation itself gives the reduction simply. You can see this. Hope you understood the reduction method. Then using thumb support the axilla, and then adduction and medial rotation is done. You can see the bandage of this particular patient. This is shoulder spica bandage. A pad is applied over the shoulder. A ball is kept inside the axilla to make the position of shoulder in a functional position, a slight abducted position. The ball is placed inside the axilla. You can either use gauze or Cora cloth as part of this bandage, like this. Shoulder spica bandage should be applied, or you can use shoulder immobilizer. Orthosis shoulder immobilizer is also effective. Don't mistake with shoulder support. Shoulder immobilizer is also effective instead of bandage. 3 weeks immobilization is must. Here you can see the bandage, shoulder spica bandage. This is taken today, as the patient came after 3 weeks of immobilization. Each week I rebandaged this condition. Today, after 3 weeks, you can see the wasting of muscles, and today started rehabilitation. Initially, pendulum exercise, abduction with support and internal rotation with support is to be the exercise started, rehabilitation started. On second phase, you should ask the patient to do resistance, movements against resistance. And in the third phase, ask the patient to do active exercise with weight bearing, or for all the movements of shoulder, and extremely for biceps and triceps. This is the rehabilitation procedure. One is active movements with assistance, then active movements against resistance, third active movements with weight bearing. Hope you understood what I explained. This is explained in Susruta Samhita in Hastadala Bhagna. Mritpinda Dharanam, Levana Pinda Dharanam, and Pashana Pinda Dharanam. Mritpinda Dharanam is active use and exercise. Levana Pinda Dharana is active use and exercise against resistance, and in Pashana Pinda Dharana, active use and exercise with weight bearing. This is the principle adopted in rehabilitation. This is Koch's method of reduction. You can see in Koch's method of reduction, the history of this particular patient is the patient jumped, as the patient is a lorry driver. He is from Madhya Pradesh. He came to Cochin refinery, and from the lorry he jumped to the land, and he can't end in a solid land. Why? Because there was a pit. So his hand was in lorry, and it caused dislocation of this particular patient. Here you can see the Koch's method. In Koch's method, you need an assistant, a very good assistant. A Kingara. Kingara means Kim Karodi. The assistant should help you to do all the things. Here you can see with the help of an assistant, a counter traction is applied like this. A counter traction should be applied like this. Here you can see traction. This method you need more power to do the traction. This traction is very important. To do this traction, initially, this is very important. This is traction, external rotation and adduction. I will explain once more. And this needs more power. But the first method I explained, it's very simple. You can do it simply. No other assistant or help is needed in that particular procedure. Here you can see in Koch's method, traction, external rotation, adduction up to the midline of chest, and medial rotation. 4 methods are there. The medial rotation itself is Dugas test. Here with the help of one assistant, counter traction is given. Here you can see traction along the line of humerus in 90-degree flexed elbow. After giving traction, then external rotation is done. After giving traction, then external rotation is done. After external rotation, adduction up to the midline of chest. Here in this case, adduction up to the midline of chest, the shoulder joint is reduced. In the third method, this case is a fresh case, acute injury case, but the first case I explained was second time dislocation. It was a second time dislocation. This was a fresh injury. This is Koch's method, traction along the line of humerus, external rotation, adduction up to the midline of chest, and then medial rotation. Hope you understood both the reduction methods. In Ayurveda, Musalena Ukshibet, Kashamsa Sando Visamhade, Sthanasthidancha Bediniya, Swastigayana Vijakshana is explained, and this particular reduction method is called as Hippocrates method. In Hippocrates method, using the stockinged toe, the reduction, the doctor put his first toe with stockings inside the axilla. Using it as a counter traction, just simply traction is given. By using the traction itself, it is reduced, but this particular Hippocrates method causes axillary nerve injury, and this axillary nerve injury causes regimental barge sign. Regimental barge sign means there will be loss of sensation to the deltoid muscle. And the name regimental barge sign, why? Because the soldiers were barged at that particular position in the deltoid muscle in that particular area. So that particular axillary nerve palsy or loss of sensation of deltoid after the reduction method by Hippocrates method, that particular condition is called as regimental barge sign. This is another clinical examination typically for slap tear. Hope you know slap tear, SLAP. SLAP. Today, 2 cases come to OPD. Today morning itself, 2 cases come to OPD with slap tear. Slap tear is due to recurrent shoulder dislocation. And whenever there is slap tear, the orthopedician advise surgical reconstruction. You should do the clinical examination to assess the slap tear before taking MRI. In all shoulder dislocation cases, there will be Hill-Sachs lesion and Bangart's lesion. Hill-Sachs lesion means the supromedial aspect of head of the humerus while passing through the glenoid rim. Due to that particular movement, the supromedial aspect of head of the humerus, the bony part is affected on this particular movement, and that particular lesion is called Hill-Sachs lesion. And whenever the head of the humerus passes through the glenoid cavity, the glenoid rim is also affected, and it is called as Bangart's lesion. Whenever there is shoulder dislocation, there will be Hill-Sachs lesion and Bangart's lesion. But recurrent shoulder dislocation, I already explained, whenever there is no 3 weeks immobilization after reduction of shoulder joint dislocation. Second thing, whether the patient is not doing rehabilitation after this 3 weeks of immobilization, then there is a chance of recurrent dislocation. Whenever the patient moves the hand in external rotation and abduction like this particular movement causes recurrent shoulder dislocation, and this recurrent shoulder dislocation causes slap tear to glenoid labrum. So superior labral tear from anterior to posterior. This is slap tear. The glenoid labrum tear will be there. Whenever there is glenoid labral tear from 9 to 3 o'clock position, in that particular condition, the conservative management prognosis is not much better. In that condition, surgical reconstruction is needed. You can assess the slap tear without taking MRI with clinical examination. I will show the clinical examination. Patient's arm is abducted to 120-degree position. Arm is abducted to 120-degree position. In this particular position, the patient feels apprehension. That means the patient felt that the shoulder joint is going to dislocate, but you do the supination of the forearm. The supination of forearm relieves the apprehension. That means whenever the supination of forearm is done, then the patient feel comfortable and ask the patient to flex the elbow against our resistance in 120-degree abduction. In 120-degree abduction, ask the patient to flex the elbow against our resistance in supination, which gives pain over the anterior capsule, which is confirmative of slap tear from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. This is the clinical examination test.